Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and I'm joined by a fellow self-sabotage coach. For those that didn't see it, I was on Tanner's podcast too. We'll put the links to his one down the bottom, Self-Sabotage Solutions. His message is very,
Yeah,
very good. He also does Instagram and Facebook videos, which are also awesome too. So we'll put his links down the bottom. But without further ado, this is Tanner, all the way from the US of A. So, we'll just delve into Tanner's self-sabotage story because I feel like it's another awesome story to really put out there to people. So, take it away, Tanner.
perfect. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, so as Nathan said, my name is Tanner, Tanner Dagenais. I actually live here in South Carolina, right by Columbia, which is the capital. And yeah, so my self-sabotage story, um, I say was pretty common for a lot of like people my age. So I'm about 29 years old. You know, the whole partying, drinking like every night. But where I kind of want to start is like I guess you could say I was brought up pretty well. My parents did focus on a lot of good things, focused on like healthy eating. But whenever I could, like I always had a friend's house who I would always escape to, and their basement was just full of just, like junk food. So I would go over there and just binge out on like gushers. Like I'd have like 5 packs of gushers and like 4 sodas and like all the sweets you can think of. Like since I didn't get as much in my home, I would just go crazy on it, right? Um, and I thought that was normal. So I would always be spending like my money on junk food and sweets and things like that. I was still probably pretty healthy because I did a lot of activities. I was more outside, and that was really early on. But then I started, getting more into video games, and I would just be constantly playing video games like all night, like staying up until like 3 in the morning, just playing
Jeez.
video games. Yeah, and just like like one of the common ones is World of Warcraft. I kind of got stuck into that for a while and just kind of got stuck in like that virtual world. Um, and I found myself just kind of avoiding social situations, avoiding like going outside as often, and just kind of getting stuck on the computer. And I think for me, that was a big portion of self sabotage. And I still find myself drawn to these video games.
Mm.
Um, I think a big reason is that because just men are just more drawn to that adventure. We were always hunters back in the day. And so, I was always drawn to that adventure, and I was getting that adventure fix through video games. But another way I was self-sabotaging is once I started getting older and going to college, and throughout high school years, I was just smoking lots of marijuana, always drinking lots of alcohol. And once I was into college, I found myself actually just like downing like lots of alcohol. And like every day I would get home and just be like, oh, that was a rough day. I'm going to have a Coke and whiskey. And
Mm.
I found myself just drinking every single night. And maybe it wasn't a ton of alcohol, but I got to the point where I was relying on the alcohol to cover up something that was wrong in my life. So I was not where I wanted to be in life. I graduated college with economics degree, and I couldn't get a job with my degree. I was working at a taco cart, and I just found myself just struggling. I was felt like a failure because I didn't have the job that I would want. I couldn't get the job with my degree, and I started going to some credit card debt. So I ended up having to move back in with my parents. And I remember that moment, and I had to call my mom, and I was living with my girlfriend, my wife now. And I had to let her know that I was in credit card debt, and I was asking her to move back in. And I remember her, oh, it's okay, you're always free to move back in with us,
Mm.
honey. So I was very grateful that I had that, but at the same time, I don't think anyone wants to move back in with their parents, especially with a significant other. So
Yeah.
that was really interesting. We moved back into a small one room. It was both me and my girlfriend at the time. We were stuck in this small tiny room. She was working in the room at the same time. So we had our bed, we had her desk right next to our bed, and that was our life for about 2 years.
Wow.
But I'm really grateful that happened because that's where I actually found a lot of my journey, and that's where I kind of started to look into things and started to realize, things were going wrong because I had all this free time while I
Yeah.
was looking for work.
Wow, hey, that's a pretty incredible story. There's obviously lots to unpack there, but a very that's just yeah, it's just incredible. Video games, that's just another form of self-sabotage, isn't it? It's like the young kids version of escaping, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people use it as like their way to get their adventure fix, and
Yep.
their fix from like the hunter and gatherers kind of
Yep.
instincts we have that we
Yeah.
were all kind of born with.
Yep, exactly. What were you necessarily drinking your like what was the reasoning for your alcohol intake?
I'd say there's multiple reasons. I think a lot of these things don't just have one specific reason. So like for me, I think a lot of it came from just society in general. When I started growing up, I started to realize everyone drinks, right?
Yeah.
So like if you don't drink, then you're kind of the outcast. And so
Yes.
I started going into drinking. And I remember my first drink of alcohol, and I was like, oh, that's disgusting. Like it just tastes horrible. And I still thought it tasted horrible for a long time
Mm,
until eventually when I started like craving it. And it's because my mind started to connect it with like a dopamine fix and
yeah.
like the solution to my problems.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like that because the first time I think most people tasted alcohol, they're probably like, that was disgusting. Like, why did I do like beer and stuff? Like, I was like,
Same
oh, what?
here.
Yeah, so gross, right?
Yeah.
And then over time, you become accustomed to it and you start to like it.
Mm,
But the other reason was just like probably trying to fit in, like I said, but then
yeah.
also just I I was always like um lacked confidence. I always thought I was that insecure person. So, I used it as a way to kind of become less socially awkward when of course, it just made me act more like a fool.
Mm,
Um, but I would use it for that reason. And then once it started, once I really started using it for like to cover up something was in probably more in college when, I guess more after college, once I couldn't get a job,
yeah.
I would come home from work every day and just feel like, man, that was a rough day. I'm just gonna have a
Yeah.
Coke and whiskey. I'd go
Yep.
get a Coke and whiskey. I'd light up a bong bowl, and just get twisted every single night,
Yeah.
and then go play video games or binge watch Netflix or go party. That was my night, and then I'd be like, why is my life not getting better?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I was spending all my time doing something that was going to keep me stuck exactly where I was, right?
Yep. Spot
And
on.
yep, exactly. So, for me, the alcohol was a problem, but also the marijuana, because I do think marijuana is slightly better than alcohol
Mm,
in a lot of ways. It has some medicinal uses, but for me, I was using and abusing it. And I find it's really like sticky. So
mm,
like you kind of get stuck to it in a way, and you always feel drawn to it because it kind of it makes you feel like it enhances everything,
mm,
and it makes you feel comfortable with the life that you're in.
mm.
Which, if you're in a really good life, then it might not be a problem. But if you're not where you want to be in life, it can be a major problem because then you feel stuck
Yep.
and you're smoking it, and then you feel fine where you are, even though
Mm,
you shouldn't feel fine where you are, right?
mm,
It's essentially like sedating your pain, sedating that thing that's wrong with your life, and making yourself feel comfortable with it.
mm. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's spot on though. We do these things to stay stuck, don't we?
Mhm.
Mm,
And we use them to cover up for something, right? Because like I was using it to make myself feel better.
mm,
Um, but also I think you're right. Like we use it to stay stuck. We use it to stay like mediocre, to stay within the group, because
mm.
what's a lot of society doing, right? Most of society is drinking.
Yep.
Most of society is smoking or finding any kind of drug, excuse me, that they can, because they want to have that fix, and they want to fit in with everyone else, because we as humans are imitative learners. We like to mimic other people.
Mm,
That's why peer pressure is so powerful.
mm.
So that's a lot of what I was doing, and that is a big part of self-sabotage, is us mimicking our surroundings, and trying to fit in with society.
Yep. Spot on. And we are pack animals, so we will mimic, mirror, and copy what we see here. And that's pretty much, you're right. That's just exactly what society are doing. They're all copying the people that they surround themselves with, don't they?
Yep. exactly. Um, but yeah, so then when I moved in with my parents, that's when I really started looking into things, right?
Yep.
So the first kind of thing I started looking into was actually the pyramids. So I'm not sure if you looked much into the
Yeah,
pyramids,
I
but
have. Yeah.
yeah, because we're always taught, right? The Egyptians did it, they built it. And I started looking into that, and I was like, there's no way. And there was this video that I remember that I watched that totally disproved it, and I was just like, they're lying about this. Like,
Yeah.
what else are they lying about? So I
Yep.
started this down this huge rabbit hole, started looking into all different kinds of things. The next kind of big thing I looked into was food, and I found Paul Chek,
Ah, yeah.
who started the Czech Institute,
Yep.
a very great, amazing, like an amazing man, super smart, brought so much information to people. I started learning about just holistic health and just like why people are unhealthy,
Mm.
and why I was never like obese or anything, but I was starting to gain weight. If I would have went down the route I was still going down, I would probably be overweight right now. And I was
Mm.
my whole life, I was always like that string bean kind of tall, skinny guy, couldn't gain enough weight. And
Mm.
then once I hit college, I gained like 30 pounds from the freshman 15.
Wow.
I was just like probably from all the 40s, the big jugs of alcohol I was
Mm.
drinking, all the dorm food I was eating, which is loading you up with all those toxins.
Yeah.
And so once I started learning about the food, I was just blown away. I was like, wait, what? Everyone's eating this garbage?
Yeah.
Like our society's built around it. And then I was like, okay, what else are we looking at? And no,
Yep.
I just kept going down, I guess you could say, that rabbit hole, or looking down through society, and be like,
Mm.
if food, the main thing that people need to eat to survive,
Yeah.
is corrupt, what else is corrupt, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, it has to be everything else. Like, it
Yeah.
has to be almost
Everything.
everything else, because
Mm.
like if food, like the most basic resource that people need, is like poisoned and full of toxins, like how can like our medical system be good? How can like our water supply be good?
Mm.
How can like TV and our entertainment system be good? So yeah, I started looking at that, and I ended up finding Jason Christoph, which we obviously both know, we
Ah,
trained under
yes.
him.
Yep.
And then I was just kind of, it all made sense once I started
Yeah.
following him, and I was just like, okay, this is exactly why it's happening.
Did he find you, or did you find him? Had that
I
sort of
found
work?
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
same.
found
Yeah.
him. I can't remember how it was. I think I just somehow came upon one of his posts,
Mm.
and I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
like that makes total sense. So I
Yep.
just started following him, and I was
Yeah.
just like, whoa, like what is like the self-sabotage like? Because
Yeah.
like for me, like I always knew I wanted to eat healthier. I
Yep.
always knew I wanted to start working out. I always knew I wanted to start going to bed on time and stop drinking. Like I would like the days I would go drinking a lot, I would tell myself, okay, this tonight's the last night. I'm
Mm.
not going to drink anymore. The next morning or the next day, I'd find myself like,
Going again.
yeah, exactly. Drunk me would be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Sober me, like, oh yeah, let's go, let's do this, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with me? Because people make society kind of makes it seem like if you just have the willpower, you can do it.
Yep.
But that I felt like there was something wrong with me because I couldn't do it, right? I was like,
Mm.
I feel like I have the willpower, like I want to do it. I have that burning desire, but
Mm.
at the same time, I would do the total opposite every single time.
Yeah.
You know, I, and I think a lot of people are in that situation.
They are. Oh, spot on. Yeah. And this will resonate hopefully with a lot of young people, because people our age are, wow, we know what's going on there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone my age is drinking.
Yep. Yeah,
And
and oh, so you go. What were we
no,
gonna
you
say?
go. No, you go.
Yeah, and I had the same thing. So like all most of my friends still drink. I did end up moving away
Yep.
um to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, which is like 20 some hours away from where I was in Colorado.
Cheapest.
Uh yeah, pretty much all the way across. So I was like more west, like middle west, like Midwest, kind of in Colorado, and
Yep.
now I'm on the East Coast. So I went all the way across America pretty much, and just we well, one thing is the prices of Colorado were just super high,
Mm.
so like that was like a problem. But then also it's just we wanted someplace new, we wanted something new, and I feel like going someplace new is really important if you are trying to overcome self sabotage, because it just can help you expand and help you grow and
Mm.
help you kind of go into a new area where you can find a new tribe. You can find new people to surround
Mm.
yourself with, so you're not surrounded with all that negativity, and all those people like consuming alcohol on a daily basis. Because
Yeah.
what I found when I stopped drinking and I'd still get hanging with my friends, they'd still be drinking and I'd be going to hang out with them and they'd be like, "You're not having any fun?" And I'm
Mm.
like, "I'm having fun." But they would always ask me that. So I felt like I wasn't having fun, right?
Yeah.
Because they can understand that if I wasn't drinking, then I wasn't having fun, right?
Yep.
Like they can't understand, like, without alcohol, how can you have fun? And that's what our society is kind of built, and that's what all the advertisements and the movies and TV shows all show, right? Oh,
Yes.
you had the best night ever with alcohol or
Yep.
smoking marijuana or cocaine or any of those things.
Spot
Um,
on.
and they make it seem like you can't enjoy these things without it.
Mm. They do. Do you have a new tribe, or are you still in the old tribe? Like, how did that? Oh, I wouldn't say breakdown, but how did that movement or that transition occur in your life?
Yeah, so I mean, I still keep in touch with some of my friends.
Yep.
Um, I haven't broken like ties or anything. It's just when I moved away, obviously I saw them way less.
Yep.
And then when I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, I we didn't really see many people because when we moved was like in the midst of COVID. So
Oh,
like
okay.
no one wanted to like say hi to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were just kind of like keeping to ourselves, just enjoying ourselves. We
Yep.
were going out hiking all the time and just focusing on our own health. So
Yep.
luckily, I'm very lucky because my wife um, joined me in my pursuit of health and
That's
wealth and
awesome.
like happiness and abundance. I know a lot of couples, they actually have that, like, they get broken up, they get
Yeah.
divorced because one person is trying to move forward and the other person is just like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yep. It's like they're trying to hold them back from doing that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the crabs in the bucket. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Where there's a bunch of crabs in a bucket, one's trying to crawl out, the other one's pulling back down,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. Yep. That's
Mm-hmm.
a perfect analogy. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Uh. Yeah.
what
You
were we
keep
gonna
going.
say?
No, you go.
Oh, and
Yeah.
we see that probably it's probably from our instincts because us as humans have it. Back in the day when we were, in tribes and groups, the if we were on our own, our chances of survival went way down, right?
Yeah.
But when we're together with people, we are more fortified. We have a higher chance of survival. So
Mm.
whenever someone's trying to leave the tribe or the group, we subconsciously want to try to pull them back in.
Mm.
So if you that's why a lot of people, when they start to rise up, start eat healthier, their friends are like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be doing that." Like I've had people like, for me eating healthier, but like, are you being like, why are you being so picky? Like, and
Yeah.
like give me weird things, right?
Yeah. You spoke about that yesterday when I was listening to your podcast. Yeah. Why are you being so picky? Happens here too.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so um, and I don't see, or like, why are you being so restrictive in your diet? And the way I think of it, I don't think of it as being like restrictive towards good things. Like, I think we should restrict the negative things out of our life, right? So like the food that's toxic, like once I started learning about that, there's no way I'm going to start putting that in my body. And every once in a while I'll go back. Like when I went down to Colorado here for a wedding this last month,
Mm.
and both me and my wife, we had to eat outside of our diet, outside of the norm.
Oh,
And what we
really?
found, we started getting real, because sometimes you go out with like family or something and they want to go eat at some restaurant, and
Mm.
you find yourself having to eat something that you might want to eat.
Mm.
Luckily we eat so healthy that we were able to detox that stuff quick, but we didn't notice like our health made a little like decline. Like I had to go through a whole detox again. I got sluggish. I got um, more congested. I got kind of bloated from the things that I ate. And I was like, it was a nice reminder to say, wow, this is why I eat the way I do. This is why I eat healthy.
Mm.
This is why I avoid these foods, because these other ones make me feel like crap.
Yeah, literally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Speaking of, like you said, detoxing. So, how would you detox then?
Oh man, I've gone through so many detoxes.
I
So
feel like the listeners out
um,
there want to know this stuff.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So there's different ways to detox, and depending on how fast you detox is how much um, you feel the detox effects. And what I mean by detox effects, a lot of people think they're getting sick when they're detoxing because it
Correct.
looks like the same things, right? It
Yes.
looks like you get a sniffy nose. It looks like you get the shivers. So one of my most recent detoxes, I had like my whole body sweats. I had body aches. I
Mm.
like woke up in the middle of the night and I was drenched in sweat. And it's because I did some muscle testing. I confirmed I was actually detoxing
Mm.
some heavy metals. I was detoxing some aluminum. I was
Mm.
detoxing some formaldehyde. I was detoxing some thimerosal, which is a form of mercury.
Yep.
And you know what ingredients these are?
Mm,
Where they come from?
probably come from our food, our
From vaccines.
vaccines, even. Jeepers.
Yeah, these are the common. These are mercury, which is or thimerosal, which is a form of mercury.
Yep.
Formaldehyde, aluminum. These are very common ingredients in vaccines.
I was going to
And people
also
always say,
say
"Oh,
toxic deodorants too.
oh yeah, aluminum toxic deodorants."
Yeah.
Luckily I've cut those out.
Yeah.
I think glyphosate as well. Roundup. Have you heard of that?
Nah.
So it's one of the most highly sprayed herbicides in the world. And it's been coming out a lot in the news recently because it's so dangerous. So pretty
Mm.
much like Cheerios,
Mm.
that's super highly sprayed in glyphosate.
Yep.
So pretty much you're eating glyphosatos.
Oh, we say that, but we say it differently here in Australia. I
Oh
definitely
yeah,
know. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I have heard of glyphosate.
yeah, oh yeah. So it's
Yeah,
yeah, I've probably just said slightly different,
that's
but
all
yeah,
right.
it's so I mean, it's just like any of the other herbicides, fungicides, or
Yeah.
pesticides, right? They're super dangerous. But the main ways I detoxed was I started to cut out the things that had those toxins in them, because if you want to detox, there's no point of doing a detox if you're just eating the same crap and putting that all back in your body, right?
Yep.
Because you're gonna go through all this work just to go through the same exact thing again.
Mm.
Like, um, I mean, the detox can be helpful, but you're just going to go right back to the same point if you're going to be eating the same food. So why do it in the first place?
Exactly.
But so I started cutting that out, and it also makes you can detox quicker. So we can naturally detox. And once we
Yes.
start to cut out those things and start eat actual food, our
Mm.
body has a natural process through the kidneys, through the liver.
Yep.
We start to work through those things through those. But if we're overloaded with toxins, then our liver and kidneys um, can't actually take those toxins in. So, like things like chemical additives, food dyes, things like preservatives,
Mm.
things like heavy metals, all those things, things like alcohol,
Yep.
all those things can overweigh and weigh down our liver and our kidneys. And when they're overloaded, our body has nothing else to do but to store them in fat cells. So that's why
Correct.
we see so many people really obese nowadays.
Mm.
Is because our body's best defense when we're overloaded with toxins is to start storing all these toxins
This
in
is
fat cells
fat.
as
Yeah.
protective mechanism, right? And when you start to see what will happen is your body will take the extra or intercellular water from the fat cells and start making it on extracellular water to even protect the fat cells even more. So that's where
Mm.
you start to see like those flabby arms, like the extra double chins,
Yep.
like extra like flabby parts of your body, because that's your body actually protecting you and your toxins. So that you know that's why I talk about, like, if you detox really quick, it can be dangerous, because for a lot of these people, they have so much toxins in their body. If they went through a super hardcore detox, they could get really, really sick very quickly because all those toxins would flood their body at once. So for
Yes.
some people, they want to start slow. Maybe
Yep.
just start cutting out those things, start eating healthier foods.
Mm. And start researching why our food's sprayed, and start
Yeah.
researching the holistic ways, which is,
Yeah.
I believe, they're the right ways.
No, I completely agree, because
Mm.
think about, like, for everyone who's there and like, no way, the holistic way is not the way. Like, we have all this medical science and stuff. Well,
Mm.
think about this. We're the most medically advanced we've ever been. We have the most technology we've ever had. We have the most ability to keep our food, refrigerated and just like clean in
Mm.
today's day and age. But yet we're the most sick, diseased, depressed, anxiety
Overweight.
ridden,
Mm.
overweight,
Mm.
that we've ever been, right?
Yep. Yep.
There's a reason why, people.
Yes, there
And
is.
the main thing, it has to do with the food, right?
Yep.
Because we are what we eat. We are what we don't excrete. So if we don't detox it, we are that.
Yeah.
because our cells literally take what we eat and build into new cells.
Yeah.
So if we're eating garbage, we're building garbage cells, and our body cannot function correctly. That's why people are getting sick all the time. I haven't been sick for 5+ years
Yeah.
probably, and I've had some major detox symptoms, but there's a big difference between the two, and I think a lot of people don't even know the difference.
Nah.
That's why I want to talk about that as well.
Mm.
And then I even went really extreme with the detox. So I did a gallbladder cleanse,
Yeah.
um, which was pretty intense. So there's little things called gallstones.
Mm.
They're like look like little like peas that are stuck inside your gallbladder. And essentially, they're little toxins that are stored, like balls of toxins that are stored in your gallbladder.
Mm.
And every once in a while, you can flush them out. And I ended up, it was like this whole huge process. I can't remember exactly what I did. I had it like written down on note cards.
Yeah.
But I ended up drinking like Epsom salt water, which was super disgusting. Like I was like, I think I threw up one time while I was drinking because I was
Good to
like,
bathe in
so
it.
gross. Yeah, I drink like a huge shot glass of was like straight olive oil, which like increased like your like bile and your intestines, so it can like help break them down and help open up like one of the holes so that the gallstones can get flushed out. And like, let me tell you, this cleanse is not for the faint of heart.
I was just gonna say, do we put a please do not try this at home warning on the?
Please do not try this at home unless you really want to go down this route. And I recommend doing some small detoxes first before you do it, and really get yourself mentally prepared. And then I've done things, like an enema. Yep. I'm not sure if you know what an enema is, but flushing your intestines out with water.
The coffee enema flushes out your liver, doesn't it?
Well,
Jason does the coffee enemas. He talks about them.
Yeah, I do a coffee enema.
And your colon
probably
too.
like every other month or something like that. I haven't done actually an enema for a while. But I probably do for one. But yeah, the coffee. That's the only way I do coffee is coffee through the bum.
Yep,
it's because it's really good. It's really good at actually pulling out toxins.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I would do it. And there's a specific kind of coffee you would use.
Yes.
But yeah, enemas can be really powerful because a lot of us have like just gunk stuck alongside the inside of our intestines, like this black gunks. Like the first time I did enema, and that's really what it is, because like you put the water in through your bum, and you let it sit in there as long as possible, and then you go to the bathroom, and it's pretty much like peeing at your butt. Sorry for the, but that's essentially what it is, right? I'm not, I'm not scared about sharing it because it's like a way you can get healthier.
It is, yeah.
So, I got a bunch of stuff like gross stuff out of me the first time I did it. I was like, wow, like what is this?
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I did it was right after that gallbladder cleanse, because what I read in that gallbladder cleanse is that once you do the gallbladder cleanse, you have a bunch of stuff stuck in your intestines, a bunch of toxins. Yeah. And so if you don't actually do like an enema after, that stuff's going to go all back into your bloodstream, and you have to re-deal with it. Your body's going to have to re-deal with all those toxins. So I did an enema afterwards to cleanse myself out and get all those toxins out, so I could just get them out of my body, because I didn't want to deal with those anymore. My goal at the time was to try to get healthier, but I was also dealing with asthma. So I wanted to get rid of my asthma symptoms, and I can say I've gotten pretty much almost completely rid of my asthma symptoms. If I eat something I'm not supposed to, I'll feel it flare up. But that was something people don't say there's like a way to cure. They don't say there's a way to deal with something,
because they're programmed to believe there's no cure for this stuff. So for those people with asthma out there, I strongly suggest listening to this.
Yep. So
and researching this stuff, because anything is curable.
Exactly. Yep. I think anything is curable. Like my wife, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't.
It's pretty much labeled as like a incurable disease. It's pretty much like you like bruise super easy, you get pain a lot, you have to sleep more often.
Yep.
And so like back in the day when she had it, like if I would like bump into her arm, she would get like a big old bruise on her arm.
Yeah, right.
Like that's pretty much what it was.
Yep.
Now she doesn't even have it.
Wow.
And the doctors told her she would have it for the rest of her life. Her doctor said it came down genetically because her mom has it, her sister has it, and so she thought she was gonna have it for the rest of her life. Once how she cured it?
That's
just
insane.
By eating healthier and detoxing her body.
That's unreal.
Yep. And yeah, I firmly believe that anyone can really cure themselves, because our bodies are amazing, right? It's just the fact that so many of us are actually alive today. despite the things that we're eating and doing to our bodies,
Mm.
I think just kind of proves that holy, like our bodies are amazing. Like, how can we be alive right now despite all these toxins, despite the onslaught of like the chemtrails, the vaccines, the toxic food, the pesticides, the herbicides, the fungicides,
Mm.
the fluoride in the water, the aluminum in um the deodorant, the toxic chemicals leached from the bottled water that we all have, right? So like all these things are onslaughting us, but our bodies are amazing, can heal themselves.
Yeah. It's just insane, isn't it? And
Um,
a lot of people don't even like people are told about fluoride being this, it helps with your teeth. Well, no, it doesn't. It's actually a known poison.
you know,
And
yeah. One
if
of the
you
ways
yeah.
you go
Oh, I was
for
just
it.
gonna say, if you look up the history of fluoride, um, they used it many, many, many years ago in the wars.
Mhm. Yeah, it's super dangerous.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have it in their water supply. So like when
Yeah,
I
we
lived
do
in
here.
Colorado, we didn't have it in our water supply, but when I moved here, we did.
Yeah.
And I made sure I looked at, because anyone can look, at least if they're in America, I know they can look online. They just type in whatever city they're in
Yeah,
and
they can
what's
do
in
it
the
here
water
too.
supply.
For those of
And
us that are in Australia,
yeah,
yeah, it's everywhere here, mate.
yeah, it's so they add it as way to keep your teeth clean.
Mm.
Um, but it's been proven to lower IQ, increase cancer rates, and
Yep.
it's just another toxin that's loading down our body, that's overloading our kidneys and our liver, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's a big reason why so many people are getting sick right now, because if your body's overloaded with toxins, your immune system can't keep you safe. Your immune system can't protect you and keep you healthy like it should, and your body can't operate efficiently.
We got to give the human body some credit though. Like we are literally getting drained and soaked up in poisons that like our body's like so powerful in a sense that it can take so many toxins and we can still be, well, I guess alive, but not really functioning, but we're still alive.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
no, I
definitely the
completely
positive
agree.
of all this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that we're alive. Like when I figured out like
Yeah.
what was going on with the health stuff, like in the food, I was just like, and
Same.
everyone's alive right now? Like
Yeah.
what?
Same here. I was like, we are literally living, drinking, eating, bathing, breathing in toxins. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's amazing that we are able to still be alive. But that's why detoxing and lowering your toxic load is so important, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I did when I was when we moved away to Knoxville, Tennessee, was we started to, make sure like we didn't have any spices that were not organic. We made sure that we didn't have any like deodorants or soaps or like anything like that, cleaning supplies that
Mm.
have a bunch of chemicals in them. We
Yeah.
started going towards the natural route. We made sure like when we started having a lawn, we don't spray any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides on the weeds. I just
Yes.
pull them up instead. I take that extra time to pull them up. It's
Yep.
more work, but that way you don't have toxic chemicals all over your lawn.
Correct.
Um, I started we replaced all of our non-stick pans, which people love, with
Teflon.
actual stainless steel, with some
Yeah.
iron, cast iron steel,
Yep.
with actual healthy alternatives. And
Yes.
those things will last a lot longer too if you take care of them. So, you know, we pretty much we did like a 180 in our life
Yep.
and started going the total opposite direction. And I'm so thankful I did.
Mm.
But part of my story also was just like I was a people pleaser.
Yes.
I was, yeah, I was, and we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
We're both people pleasers,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah. We all
Um, you
are.
know,
And
exactly,
in
yeah. And I
some,
think,
yeah,
you
some
know,
are like we all are in some facets of life, but like it's heightened in other ones. Like
mhm.
doesn't matter what aspect of your life, we're all trying to please someone, aren't we?
Exactly. Yep. And
Instead of
I
pleasing
think that's
ourselves.
exactly that's part of like the mimicking, like imitative learners. Like we just want to be like other people.
Yep.
So a way we can please them and mimic them is to do what they do or to follow their rules or follow their guides.
Mm.
And so we kind of see that with school. Like we're taught to follow, exactly what we're told, to do what we're told. We're taught to, go work for a company, work 9 to 5 every single day or whatever the time frame is, the whole 8 hour day,
Mm.
go home, get drunk,
Yep.
go to bed, wake up, do the same thing over and over again, and that's life.
And you said in your podcast, live for the weekend. Weekend's too short. You're back on Monday and you're going again.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes.
that's I work in a call center right now, and
Yep.
that's what I hear all the time. The weekend was way too short.
Yep.
Oh man, that's this weekend. Like this week is back already. Oh man, I need my coffee, right? Oh
Yeah, I
man,
hear that all the
that's
time.
something too. Yeah, that coffee and like especially whenever you work in like a corporate place or
Mm.
like an office setting, you always hear people back. I can't wake up without my coffee. I need my coffee fix to have energy, and that's not normal.
No, no, it's not. None of this is normal.
No,
No. And
but
then,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
oh sorry, go for it.
go for it. Take it away.
I was just gonna say, just in general, like the big awakening for me was just getting more knowledge. That's a big way you can overcome self sabotage. Is just by learning more,
Yeah,
not just be like, oh, that's just conspiracy theorist stuff. No, that's too easy just to push that away.
yeah, I
You
agree.
need to do some research for yourself. Don't just trust the science. Actually, one of my YouTube videos got banned off YouTube. It's
Yeah,
called 14 Reasons Not to Trust the Science.
I did not. I haven't even seen that one.
It's banned off
Probably
there,
because
but
it's
it's on
banned.
Rumble. It's
Oh,
on
we might have
Rumble. So
to.
I was, yeah,
We'll have to reshare that.
yeah, I'll have to reshare it for sure.
Send me the Rumble link and we'll put it in the notes down the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
do that for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, that one was fun. It's probably because I touched on vaccines and
yeah.
all that fun stuff, and they don't like it when you do that. They say
No, they
naughty,
don't.
naughty.
Did he get a few views though?
it. I bet you probably got more views. I feel like it probably got shadow banned too, but
Yeah,
at the time before it got banned, it had like 14 views, and it was only up for like a couple weeks. So
yeah, right. It's interesting, isn't it? The more views you get, um, the more stuff you talk about, the more likely you are to get banned, eh?
yeah, they don't want people to see it.
Nah.
Um,
And there's a reason why they don't want people to see it
exactly.
because it's their way, and that's it. We'll just what I'm looking for is like we'll dis the we'll disrespect to a point other people's alternative views. It's our way, and that's it.
Yep, exactly. That's misinformation.
That's it. Yep.
You cannot say this misinformation. You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yep.
Get out of here with that. You are anti-science, anti-government.
Yep.
Get out of here. That's what they would say.
And the last 3 years.
Yep, exactly. With the whole COVID stuff. Um, and I think I also mentioned stuff about COVID. I think they don't like that part either.
No, they don't. No.
So yeah, and I mean, I just kind of touched on everything on that one because I was just throwing. I was like, this reason, don't trust it because of this reason. And I just keep going. But the whole time I kept saying, no, don't take my word for this. Do your own research.
Correct.
I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Don't if you're listening to this podcast now, don't just trust us at face value. I don't want you to trust anyone at face value. Do some research. Double check what they're saying. That's why doing your own research. People say ignorance is bliss. It's
Yep.
not bliss. Ignorance is going to get you hurt. It's going to get you sick. It's going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you poor. It's going to keep you uneducated. It's going to keep you, diseased.
Correct. Spot on. Spot on, isn't it? I'll just let you sort of just go for it. This is great.
Yeah, I'm just getting a little. Excuse me, I'm getting a little feisty. I get a little passionate sometimes when I talk about this stuff because, it's been so important in my life.
Yes.
And sometimes it's hard to watch everyone else just go down like that rat race, like through the rat maze, like to the end of the tunnel towards what they think is the cheese.
Yeah.
And when just like how backwards our society is, like
Oh.
what like I think Jason mentioned is like it's kind of like a death cult.
Yeah. It's extreme, but it is.
I mean, we're promoting all these things that are toxic for our bodies. It doesn't matter if something is proven as toxic. So like glyphosate or Roundup, that herbicide we were talking about before.
Yeah.
It's been proven to cause cancer. It's been proven. It's been in the news,
Mm.
but it's still on the shelves
Yep.
being sold. There's agencies that were supposed to be government agencies like this FDA and other things like that. We're supposed to be there to protect us from these things. They're not doing shit.
Nah, doing the opposite.
And if one thing gets removed, a new chemical comes in to take its place
Yeah.
just as soon as that one leaves. And then they're like, oh, but this one's safe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, what they used to spray DDT, which is a bug spray, like pesticide, all over people. They used to spray it all over the town, and they ended up removing it because it was toxic.
Mm.
But people are still spraying that stuff on themselves.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, like, yeah, I kind of got down tangent,
All
but
right.
yeah, you
Good
know,
tangent.
just the knowledge is important.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
that's a major role or way we can overcome self sabotage is just by increasing our knowledge and doing our own research. But of
Spot
course, it's
on.
kind of it can sometimes be harder to find that actual um the actual legit research because like if you look on like Google searches and you try to find a certain like study that was done for maybe like masks don't work or something like that,
Yeah.
you'll find is just like repeated pages of the same search results,
Correct.
like for hundreds of pages.
Yeah.
Like you have to search through like thousands of pages to even find the thing you want or know the exact name of that study to find it. And that's why I think social media is so powerful. It was a tool that they try to use probably to manipulate people into their worst lives. But
Which
I
they
think a lot
have.
of people they have, but people are also using it to do the opposite and waking people up, kind of like we're doing, where
Yeah.
we're sharing these things and talking about them. And I think that's why it's so important. Everyone goes out there and talks about it because that's how we change the world. First, we start with ourselves, and then we share that knowledge with other people.
Correct. Gee, I've got goosebumps. That's just so powerful. That's awesome. It's spot on. Like you do the work for yourself first, and then bang, let the others in.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
how it works.
Um, exactly, because people are imitative learners. So just the same way we're imitating them, we were imitating them to start drinking and
Yep.
smoking and go into our worst lives and eat all that junk food, line up in the fast food restaurants, line up for the coffee shops.
Yeah.
We can show them a better way, and they can mimic us towards their best life.
Correct. Showing the way.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll just quickly touch on. I listened to your podcast the other day, and it's some of that Joker self-sabotage personality really resonated with me because I was that as well. But this is all about you, Tanner. So you tell us how you were a bit of a Joker self-sabotage personality, and then that can lead into my joke at the end, and then a powerful message to
Okay.
wrap things up with.
Yeah. So my Joker personality type,
Well, actually,
really what that,
quickly, we'll just explain what it is,
yeah,
and then we'll delve into it, and then yeah.
yeah, pretty much what the Joker personality type is like always trying to like make a fool of yourself so you can fit in, right?
Yep.
So, it's like it's one of our main childhood like protective mechanism. There's a couple different personality types, self sabotage personality types that develop when we're children, because
Yep.
these ones, they're perfectly fine when we're children because they help us fit in, help us survive. It's our subconscious's way of helping us um, fit in with the tribe, and that's really what our main goal is as children is to survive until we're adults so we can take care of ourselves, because as children we can't get our own food, we can't take care of ourselves, we can't do these things to provide for ourselves. So we need to be able to fit in and make it so the people around us will take care of us and love us. And so when the way I did it was through being a joker, so essentially making a fool of myself, trying to be the class clown, always trying to make a funny joke so people will laugh at me and be like, oh yeah, this guy's pretty cool. This guy is no threat to me. He's just a fool. He's just funny. He's not trying to get better than me in any way. He's just trying to, um, you know, be him. I guess he's just being silly, right? And people like that. And what kind of reinforced that for me was watching all those movies like Step Brothers, watching all those movies like a bunch of those Will Ferrell movies,
Oh
essentially.
yeah.
Like acting like a total idiot.
Adam
And
Sandler's another one.
yeah, Adam Sandler, yeah,
Yeah.
act like Big Daddy, or
Yeah.
all those ones, right? Because like they're just acting like complete clowns the whole time, and people think it's funny.
Yeah.
And when we see that, we mimic that. We're like, oh yeah, that is funny. And then we start to like, for the longest time, like I was one of the people who would always like quote different movies like those because I thought people would think it's funny,
I
and
did
I
that
always get all
too.
these laughs.
I
I'd
did
always
the
get all
same
these
thing.
laughs.
I
Yeah,
did that as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway.
So yeah, that was what I was doing. I was always trying to make myself the joke. But where I found that self sabotage was when I was trying to be serious, people wouldn't take me seriously.
Mm.
They'd be thinking I'm still that joker. And so when I started doing this kind of stuff, I found a lot of resistance towards it because people were like, "How could you be doing this stuff now? You were always like the kid who got high and got drunk, and made a joke out of things, right?" And
Yeah, that
so,
was their perception of you.
exactly. And
Mm.
that was my perception of myself for the longest time too,
Mm.
until I started to change my mindset and change the way I was thinking about myself. So
Yeah.
that was where I was being a joker, and of course that is part of like the people pleasing, just trying to please others by making them laugh
Mm.
and trying to fit in with them, because that's one of the best ways to fit in is to usually make them laugh.
Yeah, spot on. And we have all sorts of different personality types. Like we have the caregiver, who's sort of like the father figure or the mother figure of the group that's looking after everyone, but they're not looking after themselves. There's that one, and there's heaps of different types of them. I've done blogs on them. You've spoken about them. We can definitely make people more aware of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, agreed. And
Mm.
remember, like, it's not something that's broken within inside of us. It's something that was there to protect us and keep us alive. The
Mm.
thing is, when there's supposed to be something that switches for us when we once become adults,
Yep.
where we let go of those old childlike ways and
Mm.
move towards our adult life. Because just surviving is surviving when we're children is great. It's a great thing to just survive and become adults. But once we're adults, if we're just surviving, we're usually depressed. We're usually like just making it through the week. Oh, just until this weekend, and then I can do this, right?
Mm.
Like, I just got to make it through this week, and then I can have the weekend. I can party all weekend,
Yep.
and then I got work again, and then
It's
you got to
that
try to survive
cycle.
it again, right?
Mm.
Just
Yep.
surviving,
Yep.
making it by, not you know paycheck to paycheck. But if we want something more, we got to switch those things and start moving towards thriving instead of just surviving.
Yeah, and breaking that cycle, because they're literally robbing you of your time. And we're creative beings. We're naturally creative, but we're being robbed of that in that 9 to 5 cycle.
Yep.
And then the 2 days we have off, well, what's everyone
Mm-hmm.
doing?
Binge watching Netflix, partying, drinking, scrolling through social media, doing nothing.
Yeah, you could be going for days about that, couldn't we?
Playing
But
video games.
that's oh mate, this interview's been awesome. I'll have to get you back on. We can delve into more of the self-sabotage personality types. Like everything that we've discussed today, like we could just go so much deeper into. We'll have to get you back on. That was an awesome chat.
Yeah, I
You
totally
got an
agree. Thank you so much for having me
you
on.
got an awesome story. I'm definitely going to get you back on. I'll come back on to yours too, and we can just try and push this self sabotage stuff out to as many people. I feel like we're both the same age, and we can really be leaders in our countries, I guess.
Yeah, it's great having this connection with you and
Yeah, it's awesome.
speaking with you. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, Nathan,
Yeah.
because we're very like minded, and it's
Mm.
it's just I feel like a very good vibe coming from you. So always a
Likewise.
pleasure speaking with you. So
Likewise. No, it's awesome. With my podcast, though, they're a bit different to yours, Tanner. I still like to tell jokes, mate. That's just, I've always done that. I do find
mhm.
jokes funny. Have you got one for us, considering you are a father?
Most of mine are like dad jokes nowadays.
That's
Let's
all right.
let's hear
Don't
your
mind
joke.
them.
Let's hear your joke go first here.
Oh, well, I've got one. So my one is, did you hear about the, actually, I think I've already told that one. What did the left eye say to the right eye? Something between
What?
us smells. What do you got for us, mate?
All right. What do you or how do you make a tissue dance?
I've heard this one, but you say
Put a little boogie in
it.
it.
That's awesome. A final word, a message for, I often ask my guests, for people that are stuck, people that are that all of that just then resonated with them, and they're like, "Gee, that's me," or "Gee, I'm stuck." My podcast is called Breaking Free. So, a message for the people on how they can start to break free.
So two things that mainly, actually, let's say three things I mainly recommend. I'll make it quick.
Yep.
The first thing, do some research.
Good.
Don't just trust us. Don't just trust the government. Don't just trust anyone.
Mm.
Do your own research. Try to read books. Try to increase your knowledge. Right.
Yep.
That's the one. Our number one making money making tool, or number one tool to make change in our life is our mind. The
Mm.
more knowledge you give yourself, the better you can do things. Second, give yourself some good food. Give yourself some nice, nutritious, organic, nutrient dense food, because your body and your brain need that to function. If you don't have that stuff correctly, you're going to have low energy, you're going to have brain fog. You're going to feel it's going to be harder to make these changes that you want to make. Last thing is reach out to people for help. You
Yes.
know,
Big
if
one.
you need help and you don't ask for help, that's a much worse thing. Like it's not an embarrassing thing to ask for help.
No.
The people who are like the most successful people I know in life have asked for help. They've had mentors. They've worked with many different people to get where they are. And that's how you can, like, it's just like reading a book. You're learning from someone else. You can actually increase the speed and the amount you're able to move forward in life by just learning from someone else. So
I
reach out
agree.
and ask for help.
Spot on. And that is an awesome message to finish an awesome chat with an awesome person.
Awesome.
Tanner, thank you so much for jumping on. You're going to jump back on in a couple of months, I reckon. We'll get you back on, and yeah, thank you very much for today, and we will stop recording.
Yeah, no problem. The pleasure's all mine. I hope you guys all have a great day, and thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, cheers.